Hello everyone. So today I have the great pleasure to be joined by Chris, an Australian DJ and activist, who will give me the lowdown on what the hell is happening in Australia with the COVID scamdemic. I noticed Chris from one of Thomas Sheridan's posts, and Chris was mentioning that he attended a few anti-lockdown protests and in fact was recently arrested at one. So I just messaged Chris asking if he'd like to share his experiences with me and my audience, and he agreed, so thanks for agreeing, Chris. I think it'll be interesting just to get your perspective on all this. Yeah, I was just listening to some of your music. DJ Kymaera, is it?
Yes.
Kymaera. I was listening to the Spiritual Rhythms mix.
Thanks,
good. It's quite good. It's a pity. It's a pity you're not getting more traction on those videos. You know, but I guess in Google or YouTube, things do get lost in the vastness. You know, I mean,
absolutely, man.
Well,
here it was mainly like performing live.
Okay.
Because there's a really big music scene in Melbourne.
Okay.
Or there was.
Yeah.
All the pubs and everything are closed now.
Yeah.
Everything's closed, and we've actually had a 9 p.m. curfew here.
Yeah.
And I've just been hearing like they're trying to do that in the UK now as well.
Yeah, and in Ireland we had pubs closed. Can you imagine?
I can't.
You know,
people weren't too happy about that, I imagine.
I don't know. People are. I don't know. I think it's because there's rules coming every day. They don't know. They can't get their head around it. You know.
Absolutely.
So, by the way, how did you get into Thomas Sheridan?
I just find him a really interesting, funny guy.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always been into occultism and magic and things like that.
Yeah, he's knocking it out at the ballpark, isn't he, at the moment?
Oh, absolutely! Like, I just love anyone that can kind of look at things like, obviously the world's kind of dark at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
But if you can look at it with a smile on your face and kind of,
it's
like the best thing in the world.
Yeah, I think he's very inspiring because of that. You know, there's so much fear porn and that's
kind of what we're missing at the moment, because everyone could get into the pub and have a laugh, and it'd probably be a lot easier to deal with.
Yeah. That might be why they shut the pubs, because people ferment ideas, and
exactly, mate.
Well, Thomas is good because it's like an hour of it's a tonic once a day. It's an antidote to all the rubbish we're getting. So it's good. So what's the latest in Australia as of today, the 27th of September?
Yeah. As of today, I'm in Melbourne, so what they've actually done here is now they've kind of restricted, like the lockdowns are much harsher in the city part of the state. So in Melbourne, there's lockdown, so you're meant to leave your house for 1 hour a day.
Okay.
And the government lists like 4 reasons or something, which why you're meant to leave the house. There's a 9 p.m. curfew, which apparently ends tomorrow, actually.
Okay.
They've just announced that. And there's a travel restriction of 5 kilometers.
Okay.
Around your house.
Yeah.
And most of the shops are closed, like 90% of the shops are closed.
Okay.
There's still like supermarkets are open and like cafes and stuff are open, but they're only doing like takeaway food. You can't eat in there.
Okay.
And hang on, I've just got a list here. I'm just going to check just a couple more things.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so there's no there's no protesting allowed, except there was a Black Lives Matter rally.
Of course, yeah.
Which the police said, that's fine, you go ahead. But when people were protesting the lockdowns, it was like police and riot gear and everything.
Yeah, yeah. And what about masks? Do you have to have a mask?
Yes. Masks are like mandatory.
Okay.
Everywhere.
Okay.
Like even when you're outside, walking on the street by yourself.
Okay. And well, if you did that, how long would it be before a policeman jumped on you?
Well, I can tell you with like good certainty like what will happen now, because I've actually been fined like 4 times for that specifically, because like I refuse to wear the bloody things.
Yes, yes, yes.
Because like they're absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, yeah.
And like there's no real science behind it or anything.
Mm-hmm.
And basically what's happened is I've just been walking through the park, it was, first few days, outside in the open air with no one around. And the police pull me over and, yeah, they just give me a $200 fine.
Okay. But I would guess like some of that is similar to what's happening in Ireland, apart from masks mandatory outside, but in public transport and in public buildings. And they have the power to give you fines. But I wonder if that went to court, it would be it'd be thrown out because it wouldn't be constitutional, would it? In Australia,
well, like I'm not a lawyer by any means. But as far as I understand, they're not actually laws.
Mm-hmm.
They're sort of just like ordinances or something like that.
Yeah.
Like they're like guidelines that the government gives. But yeah, I think you're right. Like if it went to court, like no chance.
So what are you doing with the fines then? It's just toilet paper, is it?
I don't know. Like I mean, I've got the option to sort of like go through the process of sending it back and everything.
Okay.
But to be honest, I'm kind of just biding my time to kind of see what happens.
Okay.
Because like there are various like class actions against the government at the moment.
Okay.
Over various different parts of all the rules.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So it might end up that everything is just deemed like unlawful.
Yeah, yeah. It could be.
I mean, I'd rather not go to court, to be honest.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I do. I wonder, has anybody in any jurisdiction had to pay like in any country? Because I know in Ireland they had someone that was brought to court.
How much is the fine there?
I think it's 190 or something. But see, that person didn't challenge it. You see, so they just willingly give the money and accepted the punishment. I wonder if they did it because I mean, judges are just, if you're going to accept it, they're not going to, you know. But if you did challenge it, I wonder. But they get a lot of people with the Public Order Act, you know. They can just say, you know, you're creating a fuss, you're creating a disturbance, so they throw that one at you.
Here they say it's like you're going against the chief health officer or something like that. Like it's I don't think it's actually a law.
Yeah, yeah.
But I mean, it can definitely make your life difficult.
Yeah.
When you're walking, like I've never really had many interactions with police.
Yeah, yeah.
And now you know, I've had quite a lot of interactions with police.
Yeah, yeah.
Just in the last month or two. And it just sort of feels like harassment.
Yeah, well, they want everybody to be conforming, you know. I mean, I seen a video from Australia.
I think that's what it's all about.
Well, I seen a video from Australia where they were physically putting a mask on a woman that she didn't want. Like, I mean, that's just that's something you do with a dog, you know.
Yeah, I mean, they like when I was at the protest, they like detained me, and they physically put one on you.
He refused to respect the health of others, so police were forced to do it for him.
In the middle of a pandemic, do you think it's appropriate not to be wearing a mask?
Led away in cuffs, the man is taken into custody alongside a female companion who refused to give her name.
We were exercising.
Across the road, another man is questioned
Democracy wins! Democracy always wins!
after earlier making a run for it.
We don't have freedom of speech. Anything we see on Facebook is deleted.
We're carrying in our homes for 0.5% of the population.
This man, one of 18 fined at the Shrine of Remembrance today.
I'm going to fight it. I'm not going to pay it.
Unbelievable, yeah.
Yeah, and then like they're all wearing them as well, but like they're all like over here we've got like the 1.5 meters thing.
Yeah.
Everyone's like supposed to save 1.5 meters. Like it doesn't make sense. But there's like hundreds of them all standing right next to each other, like all these policemen. And so yeah, I wore the mask for like 10 minutes. And then I just took the thing off and I'm like, I can't believe there's people walking around all day wearing this thing.
Yeah.
I mean, if you wanna wear them, like go for it.
Yeah.
It's just more being compelled to do something.
Yeah.
Under coercion.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I wear one just for public transport, but
yeah.
Because it's just, getting from A to B. But most of the people, I live in Switzerland, and pretty much in public transport, 99% of people wear them, and like you might see the odd person, but generally outside, it's not mandatory outside. But generally, even with that, most people don't wear them. But I know in Ireland it's not mandatory outside, but a lot of people wear them. So it depends on the mentality.
Well, I'd say here, like I'm in a pretty kind of inner city, like trendy part of Melbourne, and I'd say it's 99% of people are wearing them. So they're all like glaring at me.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, well, you have to superhero strength.
You just gotta ignore it, I guess. So.
walk around like you're the boss,
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a couple of mates that asked me about that, and it's like, I'm not trying to make a political statement or anything.
Yeah.
I just feel like, our health is, excuse me, my cat's just come in.
All right.
Our health is our own responsibility,
Yeah, well, it's like they're so like to say my body, my choice, and it doesn't seem to be used too often on this occasion. You can get an idea, an impression from the internet, and maybe the reality. I mean, are the police pretty brutal? I mean, is it really that bad?
Well, I mean, it really depends on how you handle the situation. I mean, my approach is like, I'd rather just not have the interaction altogether. So, the interactions that I've had have been pretty good. Obviously, the situation at the protest can get pretty intense.
Yeah.
But even there, I'd say the majority of people there are just peacefully protesting. But there's a core, like there's definitely a few people that are like pretty angry.
Yeah. And
I can totally respect that as well.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you see the way the police do be tooled up. Like, I mean, it does kind of it elicits a lot of different reactions. I mean, they're not they're not old style police with like in England with the bobby hat and everything is fairly relaxed.
People have been suggesting that they're different. Like they've got different uniforms and different cars and like insignia and stuff.
Yeah.
And there's like a program called the Strong Cities Network.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm not that familiar with it, but Melbourne has signed up to this program.
Oh man, that sounds.
Yeah. So these police, they look different to our regular police.
Okay, so they only have one thing in mind then, to crack down on any protests. That's their...
Yeah, the Black Lives Matter rally was totally fine.
Yeah. Okay.
That went ahead like while the lockdown was going on.
Yeah.
And there was, I think, about 10,000 people there, and like the police were totally fine just letting it happen.
Yeah.
And then there's like, because the rallies here have been quite small, the lockdown ones.
Uh-huh.
I think a lot of people were afraid to, getting fined and getting stopped, and there's also that 5 kilometer limit as well, so you can't really get there.
Yeah.
And and the police have just been like, just shutting it down.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it just tells you with both protests, like they're punching up or they're punching down. I mean, the lockdown ones, they're definitely saying something about the government, so they have to be shut down. Whereas Black Lives Matter, I mean, that's just so. It's kind of like generic. Like, I mean, what are you, I mean, who's racist these days, really? I mean.
Yeah. I mean, there's obviously, like, there's parts of that I support, but it's just such a double standard.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, we're just like, there's that whole thing of like people saying, oh, you just, like right wing and dangerous and stuff.
Yeah.
I just see regular people.
Yeah.
I don't want to be locked inside my house anymore.
Yeah, and you don't want to walk around with a nappy all day on your face.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And it's like, this whole thing, it's like puts a lot of pressure on people, like mentally.
Yeah. Travel and movement then. I mean, have you got outside the state, Melbourne, or?
No, this is the interesting thing. The borders for, like, Australia has 6 states,
okay,
2 territories.
Yeah.
So here in Victoria, we're about 6 million people.
Mm-hmm.
We're probably like the second largest state.
Okay.
And all the borders for the states are closed to all the other states.
Okay, but are they able to man the border? I mean, I can imagine it's porous, like it's how.
Yeah, there's obviously points.
Okay.
Where it's very remote and it's like largely farmland.
Yeah.
So I think, I mean, if you try hard enough, you can do it.
Okay.
But the majority of the population in Australia just is mainly on the East Coast.
Mm-hmm.
So the police will just be setting up at certain points.
Okay.
But now in Melbourne, there's kind of like a 2-stage thing.
Okay.
Where like the region outside of Melbourne has like much easier restrictions.
Okay.
And they've just brought in a thing now saying if you're from Melbourne and you try and leave to like go to country Victoria, it's a $5,000 fine.
Jesus. Yeah.
I want to like go fishing or something because like, you're tired of being locked in your house like 23 hours a day.
Yeah.
Sorry, you can't do that.
Yeah. Well, I know, like in Ireland, they've started to do. They had it at the start of the COVID that you're the like 5, I don't know, it was 5 miles around your house, but now they're starting again with Dublin is ring fenced and Donegal is ring fenced. But like it's a bit like Ireland is a kind of strange because I mean. There's country roads, little small country roads, and they're not, there's no one on them, so it's not really difficult if you really want to. And Irish coppers, they're pretty much the laziest cunts you could ever find. So they might, they'll set up, the busiest times for the cameras and stuff, but like, in a few hours to be. Around there, in their cop van, just their legs up. I mean, they really are.
Got to put a bit of effort into it.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm guessing that's what I've been told that's what they're like anyway. But with the first lockdown, they were pretty relaxed. But so with the situation, there was a video. They isolated some people in a tower block.
Yes.
So what was the story with that one?
Well, that was it's like low income like public housing.
Mm-hmm.
So like it's like sort of like mainly immigrants, like a lot of people that don't speak English.
Okay.
So it's people that are fairly easy to control as well.
Yeah.
You know, like they're not wanting to rock the boat.
Yeah.
And, you know, possibly jeopardize being able to be in the country.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, also the international borders are closed as well. So
yeah,
no one can actually leave Australia. And people can't actually return home to Australia either.
Yeah. So,
but yeah, that story, I know that kind of made the news internationally.
Yeah. Well, I guarantee they wouldn't be isolating a rich part of the town, would they? Or I mean,
no.
It's just they probably used that as a test case to see how far they could push it.
I'd probably say that like the whole state's kind of a test case.
Hmm.
You know, like we're fairly kind of, like it's fairly kind of left-wing, progressive.
Okay.
Like political vibe down here.
Okay.
Because like I found like people have been generally pretty accepting.
Okay. Yeah.
Like, the guy who's in charge is like actually still popular.
He's protecting everybody.
Well, and it's also kind of scaring the bejesus out of everyone as well.
It's kind of like a Stockholm syndrome, isn't it? You love your You get to love your tormentor.
Some call it Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah. What about free speech then? And like, I read somebody try and ban things off the internet and Facebook and stuff. Like you can't. And then there was that case, didn't they? They entered some woman's home because she put up a Facebook. Did you see
the one with the woman? There was like a pregnant woman.
Yeah.
And she tried to put up an event on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
And the police came into her house and charged her for incitement.
Okay.
Which is like pretty scary.
Yeah, you can't incite, you can't be against your government. How dare you, I mean,
I think that one kind of made the news a bit like around the world and everyone's like, what's going on down there, guys? Like,
yeah.
What are you doing?
And is it like this?
The interesting thing about that as well is like she'd actually made really clear on the event, like wear masks and like obey social distancing and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I guess that's the laws. I mean, is that really going to stand up in court like this? That seems like just like abuse of human rights.
Yeah, well, they don't want people to challenge it, really. They're just hoping that they'll accept it. I mean, is it like this everywhere in Australia then? What about the outer states?
No, it's interesting actually. Like Victoria's got like the harshest lockdown. Like one of the harshest in the world.
Mm.
And a lot of the other states are quite business as usual.
Okay.
And it's interesting because like they're kind of like I think a lot of the people are like, I've got mates in other states and they're just like, oh, what are you guys doing down there? Like, calm down. I'm like, mate, like I don't think you really understand what it's like.
So you'd have refugees then heading north or something.
Absolutely. Like I think that's why they brought in that $5,000 fine.
Yeah.
Because as soon as things kind of eased, it was about a week or so ago.
Okay.
I think everyone's like, I just want to get out of this town. And just like go up, go to New South Wales or Queensland or something.
Yeah.
But they're still closing their borders to each other.
Yeah. It's madness, and we're meant to be the mad ones, you know.
I kind of feel like it's the states themselves have sort of become their own countries.
Yeah. So you have like Scott Morrison, and he's in the Liberal Party now. Despite its name, it's meant to be a centre-right party. I'm not sure. I mean, how it's called the Liberal Party, but so you'd imagine they'd be a little bit more open to listening to their base, ordinary people, I guess. So how? I mean, how's
he's been like fairly like he just basically disappeared the last 6 months.
Okay.
I think the way he'd explain it is like our state's like done all the lockdowns, smashed all the businesses and everything, but the federal government has to like pay all the welfare. So I think the welfare is also like a big part of what's keeping people maybe from not protesting or not being angrier.
Yeah, well, that's what Thomas Sheridan said, that it's just like bribing the people. It's like the mafia. It's kind of like,
and their welfare is meant to end in the next, well, it's sort of, it tapers off over the next few months.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see what happens then.
Yeah. But God knows what it'll be like by then, you know?
Well, I mean, I've been for walks around, like, the city, the CBD, and the area where I live, and it's like, I don't recognise that anymore.
Yeah. Was it Scott Morrison that mentioned the vaccines to be mandatory, or was it somebody else? It was him, was it?
He did. Well, he did, like, initially. And I thought that was very telling, that like that was the first words out of his mouth.
Yeah.
Well, like, this is going to be mandatory. And then I think he just got destroyed by public opinion of people like saying, how dare you, like, how's that going to work? And I think he kind of backed it back a little bit.
Yeah.
But it remains to be seen, because there is there is a law like before the parliament in the next few weeks in Victoria that's absolutely terrifying.
Okay.
It's basically called the Omnibus Bill.
Okay.
And it gives the government to, like, I'll try and get this right, they can basically empower anyone, like, say it's some civil servant or staffer or something, to enter your home and detain you for a period of time that they see fit.
For what? Just because?
Because you may be considered like a high risk person.
Okay, that's
So that's scary.
Yeah, and oh man, yeah, I don't know, like, and people are, they're not arguing about this, they're just happy with all this, aren't they?
No, mate, I've lost so many friends.
Yeah.
Like I'm just not gonna be quiet about it,
Yeah. But well, and the vaccines things. I mean, like that's. I don't know if they'll make it mandatory though, because they'll have the people lining up for it anyway. I mean,
I think you're right, mate. Like, there's a system here whereby, like, if you don't get it done, you won't be able to qualify for like welfare and.
Okay. Yeah.
Your child won't be able to go to school and stuff.
Okay, well, that'd be a small blessing.
I think what they'll do here is they'll just make life like impossible for you.
Yeah. I think that's what we're gonna try. Yeah.
Yeah, with like not being able to travel.
Yeah.
not being able to buy food or go to a restaurant or like you want to go to a big concert or something like that.
Yeah, it'd be like
That's kind of how I picture them doing it.
Yeah, it'd be social credit system like in China.
Just like China, yeah.
I don't know how it's going to work. I mean, like you can't go to a shop, but can you not just get takeouts and shop online? And I mean, there's ways around. There's always some way around it, you know.
I'm not sure. Like at this stage, it's just a strange feeling because like the future is very uncertain.
Yeah, and
as far as a vaccine, it's like, don't vaccines take like 7 or 10 years normally?
Yeah, it takes a long time, but
and they want to crank this one out in like 18 months. Like, excuse me, but I don't see people dying.
No. I guess with Scott Morrison, I mean, he had the whole with the fires thing ravaging Australia, and he didn't really handle that too great, I guess. I mean, he's going to be a one-term Prime Minister, I guess.
Yeah, it's hard to say. Like, I'm not. I've never really been much of a political person, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, they're all the same anyway, but you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I dare say, like, there's definitely going to be repercussions for the government here in Victoria, because they're saying that like they're responsible for all the people that died due to the hotels. Okay. But they largely won't accept responsibility.
So what was the hotel thing? It was just the hotel.
It's like, you know, when you fly in, you have to quarantine.
Okay.
In the hotel for like 2 weeks.
Okay, yeah.
And you're not supposed to go out, and you're not supposed to.
Okay, yeah.
Mingle with the public or anything, but like there was an issue with they hired, like, instead of hiring proper security, he did some dodgy deal or something.
Okay, yeah.
And got like some of his union mates to like do the security.
Okay.
And the virus got out.
Yeah, okay. So some backhanders maybe in that deal, I'd say.
Yeah, something like that. It's so hard to believe anything they say.
Yeah, well, that kind of leads nicely to my next question, because I was going to ask about political shenanigans. I mean, in Ireland we call it Golfgate. I mean, all the politicians.
Oh yeah, a bit about that.
We're telling people to lock down, and we're threatening all sorts, and then they're all in a fancy hotel in the west of Ireland and lapping
like,
it up.
All there, no masks, and there's like
drinking and
deputy of them or something.
So is there any similar shenanigans with the?
Well, there hasn't been like anything exactly like that happen here. That we know of.
Yeah, that you know of.
The other thing here is like the media is like, they probably wouldn't report on it anyway.
Yeah. I think the one in Ireland.
I think the one contradiction is here that like, you know, they keep saying, "Oh, we're all in this together."
We are all in this together, this world. We work together across borders and disciplines because we are one world, united in our humanity. We are all in this together, and we are stronger because of it.
Yeah.
And like some of the things I've seen is like, oh yeah, we're all in this together. Like, you're on welfare and I'm on $500,000 a year.
Yeah.
Like I've smashed your business like completely, but like not one politician has lost their job.
No, and they can go for large walks around their nice residence and their gated community, and they probably have private transport anyway. They can fly up in a helicopter and go anywhere they want.
Well, I reckon they'd probably want they'd probably want private security right now, I reckon.
Well, we'll see. Hopefully, maybe. So, in Ireland, the media is 100% behind them. You know, there's no dissenting voices.
Yeah.
And then you get sob stories as well, and they kind of play on your emotions and how could you.
Yeah.
And they did.
Yeah.
Last week they had two big pop stars, Jedward. I don't know if you know Jedward, but they were, oh my goodness, do your best.
I've never heard of them, but I saw Tom Sharon talking about it in the video.
But you know,
but it's interesting though, that thing of like, because I'm the musician.
Okay.
And I'm like, where are the musicians?
Yeah.
Like, where are the people that are like, where's the punks? Where's the...
Yeah.
Just like the people just telling the establishment to...
Yeah. Well, it's
hike,
interesting you mentioned punks. You know that Australian band, The Chats?
Yeah.
They're a bit punkish, but I see them talking about masks. Like, and I was a bit disappointed. I thought like they'd have a bit more oomph, you know? I mean...
Yeah, I mean, I mean, being in music for a long time, it's like a really big part of my life. I'm really passionate about it. I didn't see that coming.
No, there is a few now at the start, like especially this side of the world with Noel Gallagher and Ian Brown and
yeah, those guys are great.
Morrissey. I don't know. Morrissey hasn't said anything, but you know what? You know he'd be on the same page. Yeah. And
no, I really
Van Morrison as well. Yeah, sorry.
Van Morrison. Yeah.
Yeah.
I really like that song he did as well. It's like
really cool. Yeah, and he's
like here we've got like our major thing here is probably sport. Like in Melbourne, like AFL, Australian Rules Football.
Yeah.
They're like our rock stars,
Yeah.
And these are all like big, tough footy blokes,
Yeah.
Dead silent.
Yeah.
Like nothing from any of them.
Yeah. And is the sport still continuing? Is it like, or behind closed doors?
It's funny actually. Like I think the grand final, which is normally like one of the biggest days of the year in Melbourne,
okay,
is not being played in Melbourne this year, and it's the first time in like over 100 years. And like I don't know, I'm not really into sport, but like my mate said they'd still been playing, but the stadiums are empty.
Yeah.
So no one really cares. And that's another thing I've noticed about this virus is like that these kind of celebrities and sports stars, they just sort of just became like irrelevant. Yeah.
Well, that's been positive as well with that. Because,
yeah, true.
You know, they kind of are annoying. Anyway, a lot of these sports, but it's kind of like bread and circuses, during Rome. I mean, there's a killer virus, but you can still have your sport.
Like you can have your circus of the footy still on TV, and your bread is like your welfare.
Yeah. So, but I don't think it's the same. I don't feel that, because without fans. It's like the music. You can imagine you playing in front of an empty auditorium or something. Like
I've seen people doing like live streams and stuff.
Yeah.
The music, and it's like, it's not the same.
Yeah, because you feed off the audience as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's also like, it's a hard thing to describe, but it's like living here. It's not a very creative environment.
Mm-hmm.
Like everything feels just kind of grey, and you're locked inside, and everyone's wearing masks. It doesn't really inspire you.
Yeah. So what, like Australia, you have the reputation of being tough nuts. I mean, you have the great outback, good day mate, drinking beer under the sun, and. Mad Max and
She'll Be Right.
Crocodile Dundee. I mean,
I know, they were criminals basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ned Kelly.
Ned Kelly, yeah.
Eureka Stockade, and like that's all our history.
So what happened?
But yeah, I don't know. Like I think about that a lot. I think we've had it really good for a long time, and there's definitely not been much of a culture of protesting things here.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, I've not been much into for protesting myself, but the last thing I went to was the Iraq War protest,
Yeah.
which was, after September 11. So it was about 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And that was huge. That was like over 100,000 people.
Yeah.
But then, of course, nothing happened.
Yeah.
It went ahead.
Yeah.
And everyone's got a really, really high standard of living here.
Yeah.
And I think maybe we've become complacent.
Yeah. And with the protests, is there any groups that are organising it, or is it just individuals coming together, or is...
It's a bit of both.
Okay.
It's a bit of both, but then there's also been, things like people getting arrested in their pajamas for putting Facebook links up. Like, I feel like that tends to probably scare a few people.
Okay. Will you be arrested after this interview?
I don't know, mate. Like, if this law passes, this one they want to do, I think it's like these things are very open to interpretation. But the way I read it's like they'll come detain you for having the wrong opinion.
Yeah. Wrong speak, wrong thought. Yeah.
Yeah, wrong thought. Like social distancing. Like that sounds very Orwellian, doesn't it?
Yeah. So with the actual protests, then, I mean, can you just maybe just tell us how did you know about the protests? Was it on Facebook?
They were kind of they were initially pretty mainstream through social media, and then after that they've kind of become a bit more decentralized.
Okay.
And people using different communication methods and did apps and stuff as well. Yeah. Because I mean the police are just there in such huge numbers that you have to try and get there in large numbers before they can.
Okay, yeah.
And I've been the last few weeks, and there's just not enough people.
Yeah. Well, fear is a powerful emotion. I mean, I think a lot of people are down the middle, really, and it's just,
Are there protests where you are?
In Switzerland, it's not that bad, the restrictions here, really. It's very relaxed. I mean, Switzerland's a very, very federal country, so like the Geneva part would be very strict, but up here in the north, it's very relaxed. I mean,
that's good.
You don't have to wear a mask even for shops here, so it's fine. Yeah. It's just public transport, and
there's a couple of shops here where, like, they won't let me in. Well, they've actually physically stopped me on the way in the door, and they're like, "No, you have to wear a mask."
Okay. Yeah.
I'm like, well, fair enough. I mean, that's your business. You can do how you want, but I'll never come back here again. Yeah,
it's mad thinking that you have to wear a mask to get into a shop. Like, robbers used to do that, like,
Totally. That's it, mate. Like, yeah, I mean, it's and the other thing that I've noticed a couple of places trying to do is they're trying to insist on people not paying cash.
Yeah.
And that worries me.
Yeah.
Why are they doing that?
Some place in Ireland have started that,
Yeah.
Well, it's going to, in the future, like, they can just, you won't be getting your government handout, and it might be taken off you, and your bank will, start eating away at your savings. Who knows? And you won't have any. What can you do?
Yeah, well, that's it. So, like, I think it's really important that we try and pay cash wherever we can.
Yeah, thankfully it's okay here now for that, but
and just challenge people when they won't do it.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Why would you do that?
I often wonder if you went into a shop and just took the goods and put the total in cash on the till and walked out. Would you be within your rights to do that? I wonder.
Well,
You know?
I don't think I don't remember any laws being passed saying that that's not money anymore.
Yeah, because it's legal tender, isn't it? Like, it's, I mean,
you can have your own policy as a shop. I mean, you know, capitalism has its problems, obviously, but like one of the nice things about it is like we can just trade with each other.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like you can obviously run your business however you like.
Yeah.
But I just feel like there's something going on there.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of things happening at the same time that's very questionable.
Yeah.
You know. I mean,
I think you described that pretty well. Like this year, it's just like one thing after another.
yeah. So that's why people are just bamboozled. They don't know what to think. You know.
Oh,
Yeah.
so my cat's just pooping.
You could have just stayed at home and put your head down. What gave you the need to go to the protest? Why did you feel you needed to go?
It's interesting because like first few months, I was like, all right, I'll just, you know, stay at home and just relax and make some music and just enjoy life. And then I don't know, something ticked where I'm just like, no, this isn't right, you know?
Yeah.
There's something going on here that's like, it feels like, you know, like a once in a lifetime kind of event.
Yeah.
And then there's that thing where you're like, well, I just like, I can go and I can go like on the internet, obviously, sort of scream on there for a while.
Yeah.
But there's a point where you just got to like get out there and do something.
Yeah.
And then I think when you do that, like other people see that.
Yeah.
And maybe they think, oh, I'm not alone, you know?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, I mean, I seen that like here when I went on the train, one guy didn't have the mask. And I just took mine off because he was right beside me, so I took mine off. And then I noticed someone behind me took theirs off. So sometimes it can be a ripple effect, you know. People just say, "Oh, fuck it," you know.
Yeah, and I've noticed like in the last couple of weeks, like people are sort of doing that here. Like they'll have it. It's just like under their chin or something, or it's not on properly. Or it's just hanging here or something. It's like, man, you don't even try. Just take it off.
I kind of do that. I went to a kid and I brought him to the pediatrician and I actually put it on so fast. I actually put it on back to front. The pediatrician said, "Do you know that's the wrong way around?" And I was like, "Oh, really?" And I fixed it, and she said, "Well, it's not going to work now." And I was like, "Oh."
Well, that's I mean, that's the thing. Like, I mean, they're just I don't know. Do they really work?
No, it's just a lot of bullshit, isn't it?
Like, do you remember when initially, like the politicians were saying that here initially, they're like, "Oh, don't use them."
Yeah.
Because we need them for all our like hospital stuff.
Yeah.
And there's like video clips of them saying this.
Yeah. The guy in America said that, didn't he? Fauci or whatever you call him.
Fauci. Yeah, he said that. And then something just went 180 completely.
Yeah.
And then it was like, oh, you have to wear it or you are selfish.
Well, the thing is, because it's the summertime and the rates of the death rates are obviously going to go down because of the hot weather, you know. So they have to keep the pretense going in people's minds.
Yeah.
So that's the best way. I mean, if you just walked outside and nobody told you there was a pandemic, you wouldn't know us, you know.
Well, yeah, I mean, and it's kind of similar effect with like if everyone turned off the TV or
yeah
turned off the Facebook or something.
Yeah.
You know, like there's I'm sure there's people living in the world that have no idea this is going on.
It's in Amazon or somewhere in the jungle.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
They're having a better life than we are, maybe. At the moment.
Absolutely. And, like, you know, we've all got immune systems too.
Yeah.
Like, look at Sweden. They haven't done any of this stuff.
No, and they don't even talk about it too much in the media as well. Yeah. They're not just they talk about normal things.
No lockdowns.
Yeah.
No masks.
Yeah.
They just trust the people to, like, you know, just keep your distance and be safe.
Well, they got herd immunity now, so they're laughing all the way. They're laughing at everybody else.
Well, I mean, I guess, like, they want to try and, I mean, I can't understand what the politicians are thinking here. I don't really want to try and understand that.
But it's kind of ridiculous that you see China is kind of is fine now, and that's a communist regime, and Australia is like China, you know.
Well, it's interesting. Like, the countries that have locked down the most are like the Five Eyes countries.
Yeah. Okay.
Which is like the surveillance network. So it's
New Zealand,
US, New Zealand, Australia, UK, and Canada.
Okay, yeah.
They're like the most locked down countries.
Yeah.
Like these kind of largely free democracies.
Yeah.
So that's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah. So just back to the protest then. When you were at the protest, what was it? People speaking, or was it just everybody mingling together, or how did they?
Well, it was like there's definitely people speaking, but there's not like a big opportunity to set up PA systems or anything like that, because most of the time you're kind of trying to get away from the police and not get surrounded.
So it's cat and mouse then, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
But and people have different things they want to do. Some people want to yell and do chants and bring signs, and some people just want to be there because they're just regular people and they just want to be there, and they're worried about like their kids and stuff like that.
Yeah. And is it pretty much a case that as soon as you set up, the police pounce? Is it like they don't give you?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Well, that was the case like at the Victoria Market one.
And did they just arrest? Sorry.
Yeah, well, we kind of gather in a group, and then there's hundreds of police surrounding, so the group has to kind of move away to try and kind of get away from that.
And did they kettle you, like the enforcer?
Yeah, and then eventually there's just so many of them. You know?
Okay.
And then, like, the footage of that was pretty shocking.
I think I've seen that. Was that one? There was a massive circle of police, and it's like
there's a massive circle, and then they're coming through the actual market.
Oh, that one, yeah.
And they're just like pushing people over. And stuff.
Yeah. People doing their shopping and everything.
Yeah, that's it.
Because every week there's videos coming out of Australia, you know.
Yeah, like I was just wondering, like, what does the rest of the world think of Australia right now?
Yeah. So were you at that protest, that particular one?
Yeah.
Okay. So what? They just herded you into a marketplace?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we kind of got dispersed and kind of walked around for a little while.
Okay.
And it was a lot. It was mostly. It was a peaceful protest, and then it just kind of just overwhelmed by police, like police on horses.
Okay.
With like the riot gear, with the shields and everything.
Yeah, well, it must be hard to keep your cool. I mean, you'd be tense. You'd be, you know.
It's a tense situation, mate. Like I said, I'll send you the footage of when I was there.
Yeah.
And it's like you just look up and it's 360 degrees. There's like so many police, and everyone's standing there, like they've all got masks on. Can't see anyone's faces.
Yeah.
And then they just take people off one by one.
Yeah.
Some people got arrested. Some people just got detained. And nearly everyone gets like a $1,600 fine.
Yeah,
so
these
I got a
fines.
$1,600 fine that day.
You must pin them all up in your wall, all these fines.
Well, yeah, I mean, like I run out of toilet paper or something, you've always got that, I guess.
Yeah. It's something to tell the grandkids, look at these.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and it's something like, I don't know, I could, like, so many of my friends are just like, oh, you could just wear the mask, you know?
Yeah.
I'm like,
wear the fucking mask.
Just yeah, like your life will be so much easier, and then you won't get fined and stuff. But
Maybe you can make a mask out of all the fines, you know, just like.
I never thought about that. Like, what if I just got like a cardboard box and wore that on my head? Like,
yeah.
Because it just says it has to be a face covering. Actually, that's interesting. Something just happened today. They said that it can't. You know, some people wear like the welders things.
Yeah.
So, like, if they don't want to wear a mask,
Okay.
they can just wear like a clear plastic shield.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the government said that's not acceptable anymore.
Okay. So it's a regulation mask then. Yeah.
That has to be like a mask.
Okay. Probably they're producing them in some factory that have getting a payoff. So when you were arrested, how did that go? Was it smooth enough, or I mean, they didn't take out the batons?
Like not at a protest. That was like on the way to a protest.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So they just carted you off then?
So not related to like a protest or anything.
Okay.
So like we just got into like a discussion because like me and another mate were walking down the street without masks on.
Okay.
And it just kind of escalated from there.
Okay.
And we just by that point, like both of us are just pretty fed up with this whole situation.
Yeah.
And we kind of just went off at these police, you know?
Yeah.
We're just like, we're just tired of being harassed by you guys.
Yeah.
Especially when you see, like, all the injustice and the corruption that goes on with all these politicians and stuff.
Yeah.
And we're just getting harassed walking down the street. Like,
yeah. Are the baton friendly in Australia? Did they take out the batons at any?
No.
No. Okay.
No, they just got handcuffs and stuff.
Okay. In Switzerland, they have big guns.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
do you guys? Because that's the other thing here. Like we don't like the population is largely disarmed too.
Yeah, and Switzerland is the third highest in the world, I think.
Oh yeah, I'd heard about that. Like Switzerland has a huge amount of guns, but like hardly any gun crime, right?
Yeah, and most people don't carry them. Most people don't have them.
Yeah.
It's just because it's just their history, you know. Yeah, but the police here are pretty okay. They're fairly chilled, to be honest, you know. But I'd say they would get. I've seen them at football matches. I like to go to soccer. I go to soccer matches, and yeah, they'd be pretty baton friendly in soccer matches now. But
yeah,
see, no one cares about soccer fans. We're all hooligans, so it doesn't matter. You know, they can.
They've definitely got that reputation already.
They can, you know, a lot of these policing measures, they came from you know, surveillance and you know, the way they're dressed and the way they do the policing and snatch squads and everything. That all came from the way they do police football matches in Europe, you know. I mean...
like where the rival teams start.
Yeah, like the riot squad and all that. I mean, they've been training on football hooligans. They're not all hooligans, football fans. for years, you know, and herding them from this train station to the football match and herding them back, and you have to get on the bus, you can't wander around the town, you know, like sheep. That they've been doing that for years, you know. You know, like I've been like on those trips, and you just get off the train station and there's the police, and they're all with the guns out and everything, like, and they're like, come on, they're going to start shooting football fans. I mean, it's just intimidation. It's just intimidation.
Yeah.
They have plastic bullets, but like they have them all like this. Like, I don't know. I mean, just.
Well, yeah. I mean, you can see some of the photos of them here, and they're in like full riot gear.
Yeah.
And this is for like. I mean, we're only talking like a few hundred people here.
Yeah.
And it's a largely peaceful protest.
Yeah.
And they just want to make a big show of it, you know?
Yeah, well, they do that in the football as well. I mean, and it's kind of like a lot of some violence that used to happen at football matches was simply because the police turned up. And they can be they kind of attract violence, because like you see them all tooled up ready for a fight, you know, and you're like, peace, it's not going to work, you know.
Yeah. Well, I think there's definitely a bit of that here too.
Yeah.
There's definitely a bit of that going on here too. Like, I think like, you know, it's hard to describe, but it's like there's people under a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
People have lost a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Have lost a lot of freedoms, and like, you know, you can either get depressed about that, or you can get angry.
Yeah. Well, it's only starting. I think it's gonna next year when the COVID payments stop, the government money runs out. You know, I mean, that's going to be interesting.
Oh yeah, I mean the welfare is like coming down gradually here.
Yeah.
And then I think you'll see different reaction.
Yeah,
and
that's fun and games.
Sure, but like when they ease some of maybe if they ease the 5 kilometer thing and that, like, will we see more people protesting then?
Yeah. What made you different, Chris? What, like, because not everybody is in tune with this. I mean, is it just you're a creative talent? You're into music? Is it just?
I don't know, mate. I've always been into principles of liberty and.
Yeah, I mean, like for me, like I've always been naturally an anarchist, because I just have hated rules and regulation. I was terrible in school, you know. I mean, it's just I just can't handle someone telling me what to do, you know.
Yeah, I think I was definitely that person.
Yeah,
it's definitely that person, and then especially seeing like the amount of corruption.
Yeah.
Like. We have a system that is protecting some of the worst people in our society.
Okay, yeah.
You know, we're talking about child abuse here, man.
Yeah.
And there's people, and this has come out, that like there's people in the highest offices of the land. Their names have been suppressed.
Okay, yeah.
By the government for 90 years. So you can't know who those people are.
Yeah.
And we're talking like former prime ministers here.
Yeah.
And people that are judges.
Yeah. Oh,
and you're meant to take orders from these people?
Yeah.
I mean, that's just a bridge too far for me, you know? Like, if I'm walking down the street with a face and I'm getting harassed by police, and these people are sleeping in their mansions every night.
Yeah. Well, it's a parallel.
I mean, it's like
parallel society. It's them and us.
It is.
You know?
It is like, yeah. I mean, that, like, I don't know. I just like I've always been fascinated by things like natural law and like, I just find when you kind of understand these principles and when you really live them, like you just feel a lot better within yourself.
Yeah.
So even though like I made myself very well known and I let everyone know my feelings and I've lost a lot of mates.
Yeah.
I feel okay about it.
Yeah. Well, I feel pretty good about it too. I mean, it's not difficult in Switzerland, but you know, I've lost friends as well. But the thing is, like, I mean, I'm lucky where I live. I can go for a hike in the mountains, you know, and I can just switch off, and my reality is walking up the mountain, and it's surrounded by nature, and it's just like that's it.
Yeah.
I mean, can you go for a walk, or like in the
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like I was like, that's like that's my church, you know. It's open every day.
But can you go where you are without being hassled?
Yes, like if I happen to be walking down the street without a mask on, like the cops might pull me over or something.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there is definitely a feeling I get just walking out my front door now.
Okay, yeah.
Which definitely makes it feel pretty real to me, you know?
Yeah.
And they're talking about doing that for like, I don't know, like they haven't even set like an end date.
Yeah, I wonder how long it could go on, like a year. I mean, people would be going haywire wearing masks.
I'm surprised they're not angry already.
Yeah. So China, like, there was like, China kind of owns a little bit of Australia already, doesn't it?
Yeah, and Victoria especially.
Okay, so
China actually, Victoria. I only found this out recently, but Victoria leased its port.
Okay.
To China.
Okay, sure, why not?
It does seem like a bit of a, you know, that's a pretty big part of the.
Yeah, well, they've been doing that in Europe. They've done it in Greece and parts of Eastern Europe, you know.
Yeah, and I think they've also sold off a whole bunch of our water.
Yeah, the water is the big thing, I think. Yeah.
Which I don't feel like anyone has any right to do that. Like.
Yeah, and sorry to cut across. There was an issue with that, with the fires as well, because you know they couldn't transport a lot of water because you know public water supplies suddenly became private water supplies. You know, and you know.
No, I didn't hear about that.
Well, it's got to do with the Chinese. I mean, you know.
Well, I mean, my opinion is like, water is water. No one owns it.
Yeah, well,
water. Yeah, this is not a very like political opinion, but.
Well, no, but it is now. It's a revolutionary idea now, you know.
Well, yeah, that's it. And like apparently they own. So yeah, apparently they own a whole bunch of our water and a percentage of the power grid as well.
Yeah, so I don't know. They'll be
I don't know what that means, but yeah, like you said, like I mean, Victoria does look a lot more like China now.
You'll wake up one morning and everything will be in Chinese.
Yeah. I mean, like I got nothing against Chinese people; they're great.
Of course, yeah.
But the government.
Yeah.
That whole thing where they're just like, you know, like everyone's tracked.
Yeah.
Everywhere they go.
Yeah.
And the people, you know, if you say something the government doesn't like, but now you can't go anywhere.
Yeah, well, that's definitely 1984, isn't it? You know, I remember just trying to escape to the countryside. No. Do you think it'll all work out in the end? You know, that the truth always wins in the end. It comes out. You know.
I think so. I think you know, ideas last longer than flesh and blood.
Yeah. But we might be old men by that stage, will we?
Well, yeah, like I've been saying to, you know, I've still got a few good mates that, like, you know, they know that this is all fucking a load of
Yeah.
nonsense. And,
I'm sure you made new friends over this as well, you know.
oh, that's the
Yeah.
funny thing.
Yeah.
Like, as you lose a whole bunch, instantly gain like
yeah.
sort of the same amount.
Yeah.
And it's like, I really like the way Thomas Sheridan described it in his video. It's like the education of a lifetime.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
And it's been huge for me this year.
Yeah. It's like we're playing chess and we're at a different level. And I mean, I don't want to sound arrogant, but it does seem like that.
Well, it just seems like, for me personally, like no amount of logic or like philosophy is gonna convince anyone.
No.
Like, I'm talking about like basic principles of liberty and stuff.
Yeah, I know.
Like ideas like you can't like allocate rights that you don't have.
Yeah.
Like, you don't just get to say, oh, a policeman does that.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't come to my house and do it personally.
Yeah.
And you say that to someone, and you just can't imagine the cognitive dissonance that you have to.
Yeah. I don't know how to filter it out. It's propaganda.
The propaganda's incredible.
Yeah.
Like, I'd take my hat off to them.
Well, I don't know if it's that good. I just think it's. I think sometimes it's really bad, and I still can't believe people fall for it. But I guess it must be good. I don't know. I mean, I guess once you're open to it, you can see how bad it is. But it obviously works for most people.
But I think also it's like, you know, maybe I've spent my last 20 years learning about occultism and all these kind of ideas.
Yeah.
Has everyone else just been watching sport and Netflix and stuff like that? So it's like crapping crap out, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think people won't wake up until it directly affects their life. That's the fact, you know.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And it might.
Will that be the the boot in the arse?
Yeah. Or
will it be before that?
Yeah, the boot on the face maybe be too late, you know, by that stage. Yeah, I think
it's an interesting question. Like, we've all got to ask ourselves, like, what's our line?
Yeah, what's the breaking point?
Yeah, like, they're going to tell you, like, you have to get a vaccine or something like that.
Well, I'm not getting a vaccine, but I that's why I like. Going again, referencing Thomas Sheridan, because we met on the Thomas Sheridan Facebook page. But I really think I feel really positive, knowing what I'm doing or what I'm thinking, at least thinking is on the right path, and it doesn't matter how bad it gets. I still feel that I feel fairly positive, energized. You know, I'm on a good energy plane. You know.
I'd definitely say I get like lots of polarity, like lots of really amazing energy, lots of really dark, heavy energy. You know.
Yeah.
Just that feeling of, you know, like everything's like I'm kind of learning so much about myself.
Yeah.
And the people around me, and it's like, it's incredible.
Yeah.
And like there's that thing of like you really get to understand who you are.
Yeah.
But then you're also walking around in this sea of lights and curfews and stuff, and you're really seeing that.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it's a little bit of both.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. So what's keeping you sane from all this madness? I guess it's your music, your DJing.
Yeah, music definitely, and I have like a good community of a couple of mates and stuff.
Okay.
You know, we're all, you know, our own kind of little bit mad, and
okay.
and we know like this is all a bit silly, and
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, and also I've just been kind of doing projects and like getting into gardening and stuff, and
Okay, prepping. Are you prepping?
trying to be a bit more like self-sufficient.
Okay, so you're prepping for the future, are you?
Yeah, maybe. I feel like it's always a good thing to do anyway.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, Chris, I'd like to finish by thanking you very much for joining me today. I mean, it's a real pleasure, and you've given us a real insight to what's happening in Australia with COVID. So thanks very much. Are there any ways people, if they want to follow you and follow your music, how can they contact you online? Or
I'll send you like a link to my SoundCloud.
Okay.
And I've got a YouTube channel as well with some.
Yeah, so I'll put the links to it. I'd recommend people listen to it. It's pretty chill out music. Have you any exciting projects coming up in the next few months? Or is that a silly question?
I mean, like it's funny. Like it's you know, I mean, like I've been doing a bit more writing actually recently, and it was really cool that you reached out, because like I was maybe thinking about like maybe doing some videos or something.
Okay.
Because I've never really done that before. And
yeah, well, I think
I don't know. I really love hearing people talk about like, you know, just ideas. So.
Yeah. Okay, Chris. So thanks once again. I hope the authorities see sense and don't pursue those fines. You know, she might be down a bit of money. I guess.
I'm just building a collection.
Okay, Chris. Nice to talk to you.
Nice to meet you, mate.
Cheers, man. Bye bye.
Take care, man.
Bye.